It's another raw video from your favorite YouTube scout, Draftrawthentic. Yes, I'm finally here making another video, and like I said, it's a raw one, so there will be no edits. Anyway, if you see my pretty previous video, I was talking about notable and interesting fourth round draft picks. Now, to put a disclaimer out there, first, I just want to say, if you comment on the videos that I've done with the the vids that I will be doing with this subject, where I talked about first to fourth round, and now this video will be about the fifth round. The disclaimer is that this is just my opinion of notable and interesting players from the fifth round of the draft class. So if you do comment, just keep that in mind that I didn't miss anybody that you think is going to be good. This is just my opinion of the players that I think is going to be good that was drafted in the fifth round. So, like I said, just to put that disclaimer out there. So anyway, like I said, you already know what this video about. This is about the notable, interesting fifth round draft pick. So let's just get started. With the 139th pick, the New York Giants selected R.J. McIntosh. The reason why I actually like this pick is because I felt like, just like the player Chad Thomas that was from Miami, R.J. McIntosh was one of those high motor defensive linemen from that Miami defense. And it was just something about him. It was that no give up attitude, just the motor to keep going, the high effort, just the energy. Same thing what I saw with Chad Thomas, I just saw with him, and I just look at, him as a player, as a defensive tackle, and I just feel as though he's going to definitely contribute to the New York Giants, and it literally could be his rookie year. So we'll see, but I wrote that name down because I really did like that pick. With the 140th pick, and just wanted, before I go through the rest of this, I'm not going through every single one of these draft picks. I'm just going through the ones that I wrote down that I thought was interesting. So with the 140th pick, the Oakland Raiders selected Maurice Hurst. Now, I wasn't the biggest Hurst fan, at all. I think that as a run stuffer, you just don't get it. He don't got it there. And as a pass rusher, he's hot and cold. He, has some, had quickness and stuff like that, but I'm not his biggest fan. I just wrote his name down because it was interesting, because he was a guy that technically should have been a first-round pick. And if he wasn't a first round, definitely a second round. And if he slipped out a second, there's no way he goes past the third. This guy even slipped past the fourth round and went in the fifth round. Now, we know why he did go in the fifth round. He had the heart condition, and that was the biggest reason why. But talent alone, from what the experts say, he should have went higher than that. So it is what it is. That's the only reason I wrote his name down, though. With the 141st pick, the Seattle Seahawks selected who I believe is the best linebacker in this draft, and that is Shaquem Griffin. I think that he is probably the only linebacker that could literally do everything in this draft. As a block shedder, I'm sorry, I almost messed up what I was about to say. As a block shedder, he's probably not obviously the best at it, especially he does have one hand. But I can definitely say, as a pursuit linebacker, as a coverage linebacker, as a blitzing linebacker, pass rushing linebacker, tackling linebacker, this guy can do it. He can do pretty much everything that you want him to do. So, to me, that is a great pick for the Seattle Seahawks, especially if they want to really get back to who they've been, and having a Bobby Wagner, a KJ Wright, and then a Shaquem Griffin. Yeah, you got some players. With the 142nd pick, San Francisco selected DJ Reed. I like DJ Reed, smallish corner, but I like DJ Reed a lot. Good quickness, very underrated, with the ball skills, good hips, smallish, obviously, probably the biggest reason why he went in the fifth round. But I think he's a very solid corner, and I think that he's one of those guys that, if he does end up really kind of becoming a really, that guy in his rookie season, It's one of those things that you can see on tape in college. You know what I mean? You can see that he was going to be a pretty good player in the NFL. I don't think he's going to bust at all, but, we'll see. I don't think he's going to be a star shutdown corner, but you're going to get something out of it. So that's all I can really want to say. With the 147th pick, the Los Angeles Rams selected my cousin, Virginia linebacker Micah Kiser. I've talked about Kiser a lot. I even got an interview with Kiser. If you want to see that video, you can check out my old videos. It's definitely still up. Micah, notable name. First is notable for me because it's my cuz. But, and like I said, it's a blood cousin. It's not just like, second generation. No, he's a blood cousin. But the thing with Kiser is that he's one of those guys that, like a Josie Jewell from Iowa, he's a very solid linebacker. He doesn't have the quickness and speed that you would technically want to see from him on tape. But what he does definitely have is that he does get good depth in dropping back in coverage. He is a solid tackler, and he is very, very smart. If you ever meet any Virginia player that played with him or any coach that coached him, they would say he's probably one of the smartest players they ever, coached or played with. So you're getting a guy with instincts and smartness. With the 150th pick, the Cleveland Browns selected Gerard. I actually should have crossed that name out. I wrote it down thinking he was another linebacker. Doing so many prospects, sometimes you may have mixed up some players, so forget what I just said there. With the 154th pick, the Buffalo Bills selected Siren Neal. He was a safety from Jacksonville State. Really like Siren Neal as a safety. If you saw my previous video for the notable fourth-round picks, I talked about how Buffalo has been recently picking up some, whether it's free agency or the draft, they've been picking up some good defensive backs, whether it's corners or safeties. So to me, when they got Siren Neal, it just showed that, hey, they see something that I saw, but their coaching staff or their scouting staff know what they're doing. They know what type of players they're getting. And trust me when I say you're getting a baller. If you're a Buffalo Bills fan, you're getting a baller with Siren Neal. And if you're not a fan of them, you're just a fan of another team, Siren Neal, if you play the Buffalo Bills and Siren Neal is playing, trust me when I say he's gonna make plays. With the 156th pick in the draft, the Denver Broncos selected Troy Fumagalli. Honestly, if you take away, speed and highlights and all that type of stuff, Troy Fumagalli is probably the best tight end in the draft next to Hayden Hurst. That's just simple as that. So that just tell you what I think of him. So I'm going to just go to the next pick. I'm going to go back. With Fumagalli can pretty much do everything. His biggest thing is that he doesn't have the great speed, but he can still run routes and create separation. So it is what it is. With the 160th pick, the Los Angeles Rams selected Obaniya Orokono. I don't know how to say his name as well, but I can say this. He was probably the best pure pass rusher in this draft next to Bradley Chubb and Harold Landry. I would put Harold Landry up there too. So, pass rushing specialist, Los Angeles Rams. They're building that defense. They're building that team. You got a big-time pass rusher when it comes to him. Now, with the 161st pick, the Carolina Panthers select Jermaine Carter Jr., Maryland linebacker. I'm a Ravens fan. I'm from Maryland. I watch Maryland. When it comes to Maryland, players, I always make sure I keep a close eye on him. This dude, Jermaine Carter Jr., will probably be the most underrated and steals of the draft. And probably the steal of the fifth round, honestly. This guy can play. He can truly play. He can do everything that you want him to do. Honestly, next to Shaquem Griffin, I would have put him up there as one of the top linebackers as well. I'm going to be honest with you. There's some things he need to work. I don't think he's the best block shedder. And as a tackler, not as consistent, but blitzing, knowing plays, instincts, this guy has it. So, it is what it is. With the 164th pick, The New Orleans Saints select Natrell Jamerson, the Wisconsin safety. This dude was all over the place. I mean, just an absolute beast. I'm going to just say, New Orleans got another safety on their hands. This guy can play. Strong safety type of dude. Smallish. He's very small for a strong safety, but he can really play his butt off. So this is a very good pick for the New Orleans Saints. With the 165th pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers selected Jalen Samuels, NC State running back. Really like him, jack of all trades, kind of master of none. I think that he's a slot receiver, he's a tight end, he's a fullback, he's running back. You know, he gives you a lot of different things. Gadget type of player. They're definitely going to play him at the fullback position, but what you're getting is a guy that, you know, Le'Veon, let's say he's to get hurt, you got a guy that you can place at running back. So, you know, he's still giving you the type of things that you want from a fullback. And he kind of reminds me a little bit of a faster version of a Kyle Juszczyk. So, you know, it is what it is. With the 166th pick, the Buffalo Bills selected Wyatt Teller. Let me just say, Wyatt Teller is probably one of the more underrated guards in this draft. And I think the Bills got another good pick, picking up a Wyatt Teller. And then the last notable, interesting fifth-round pick was Cincinnati. With the 170th pick, they selected Darius Phillips, Western Michigan. Kick return, punt returner. But his biggest thing is his ball skills. And when he gets the ball in his hands, it's going for a touchdown usually. He can get a little lazy at times, and that definitely hurt him. He's a little, you know, he's kind of small. And like I said, getting a little lazy definitely hurt him as a cornerback. But I can definitely say this. The guy has ball skills, and you just never know. He could really turn out to be a pretty solid player for the Cincinnati Bengals. It can be a very good steal for them. And they've, just like the Buffalo Bills, and recently turned out some pretty good defensive backs, especially at the cornerback position. You know, so they know what they're usually looking for, and I think that is a really good player for them getting Darius Phillips. So anyway, that was the last name on my notable, interesting fifth-round picks. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more of the videos, especially the next one that will be coming up, which will be the 6th and 7th round, notable, interesting picks, that is definitely something you want to watch, because those will be the definite steals of the draft. If you didn't like what I had to say about, you know, any of these players, or you feel as though I missed someone in the 5th round that you want to comment on, please comment. And please share this video so other people can comment and other people can join in, and we can build this draft community that I know I would like and you would definitely like. Once again, this is Draftrawthentic. I thank you for watching. Goodbye.